The weather forecast with Akendogas.
Hi, ladies and gentlemen, and a pleasure to have you join me on this edition of the weather forecast. Hope you had an excellently spent weekend. We would between tonight and tomorrow morning have a calm weather dominate the nation, with the least temperature expected at 16 degrees in the northwest region, the west and the Adamawa regions as low as 18 degrees. We also expect a minimum of 19 degrees in the north region, with the center, south, and the southwest regions expecting a range between 21 to 23 degrees. Onto the far north region tonight, there is no possibility of precipitation, and same thing by morning with Mora and Kylie expecting the least temperature at 24 degrees. And onto the littoral region tonight, it may drizzle in the entire region, and by morning there would be no chance of precipitation in the region, with Kongsamba expecting the least temperature at 20 degrees. And onto the east region tonight, we have no possibility of rainfall, and same experience by morning with Abongbang expecting the least temperature at 22 degrees. Now that's not a very bad weather condition for you to carry out any activity you have at the Kade River of Baturi. Thank you for watching, and you have a good night.
Nous sommes toutes lionnes indomptables. Après leur victoire sur la Côte d'Ivoire lors du tour précédent, les coéquipières de Njoya Adjara reviennent dans l'arène. Le jeudi 5 mars 2020, les lionnes indomptables du Cameroun affrontent les Cooper's Queens de la Zambie pour un ticket qualificatif aux prochains Jeux Olympiques Tokyo 2020. Parce que c'est le mois de la femme, venons rugir avec nos lionnes. Rendez-vous à partir de 14h30 au stade Omnisport Amadou Ahidjo de Yaoundé pour une rencontre exclusive.
As the coronavirus crisscrosses countries and continents, the Cameroon government adopts a chain of rapid response mechanisms to keep the virus under check, just in case it strays into the country. The Human Rights Watch's allegations on the Garbu killings cast a dark cloud over the role and objectives of NGOs, with many questioning if most of them are not surrogate business enterprises with hidden agendas. As Yaoundé awaits the election of its first ever city mayor, the 7:30 News tonight explores the 15-year legacy of the outgoing government delegate Gilbert Yevuna, whose modus operandi earned him the sobriquet of the popular American artist Jacques Bauer. Those are the lead stories. Hello, thanks for joining us on the 7:30 News. I am Ben Menopofon. It pleases me to be back with you again. The Cameroon government is mobilizing to face up to the ravaging coronavirus that has already recorded over 90,000 cases worldwide, with thousands of others dead already. Public Health Minister Manauda Malache has been reassuring Cameroonians, saying that rapid response mechanisms have already been put in place in international airports across the country to prevent the deadly virus from straying into Cameroon. The minister went visiting the arsenal at the Yaoundé and Simolen International Airport today, as well as the Epidemiology Center of the Yaoundé Central Hospital. Alice Mbey reports.
This is the equipment mounted by the Cameroonian government to put a check on the coronavirus and bar its entry into Cameroon. It is to verify the effectiveness of the medical apparatus that the Minister of Public Health came inspecting at the Yaoundé Simaleng International Airport, an opportunity to get a first-hand screening of passengers' entry. The thermal camera used to determine the temperature of travelers, thermoflash to confirm if travelers' high temperature is due to coronavirus infection, an isolated zone of any confirmed case, a registration list for travelers, and hand sanitizers. He also visited 2 portions on which a health center will be built and an emergency unit to isolate infected patients. His next stop was at the Epidemiology Center at the Yaoundé Central Hospital, where confirmed cases will be isolated. Demonstrations were also carried out by doctors on how to dress up before taking care of patients.
We wanted to see if things have been put in place to fight against coronavirus. We needed to see how travelers are treated once they get off the plane. They have to pass through the thermal camera and the thermal flash for screening. I think the health personnel at the airport are doing their best.
He ended his visit at the Cameroon Health Emergency Operations Center at Mesa, where he reviewed work done so far as coronavirus is concerned.
Authorities of the Quinta Hospital in Douala have refuted allegations that there is a case of the coronavirus in the medical institution. This follows some social media reports propagating the false information. Scholar Maloke was at the Quinta Hospital and now tells us exactly what is happening.
This work as usual at the emergency unit of the Quinta Hospital with patients waiting to be consulted. This would not have been the situation if there were any suspected cases of the much dreaded coronavirus in this medical facility, as reported by some social media outfits.
At the moment, we have not received any case of coronavirus in the Quinta Hospital. The virus has not been confirmed in Cameroon nor in any country of the sub-region. So there is no case of coronavirus in this hospital.
As the hospital authorities continue to observe the situation, they have sent out this message to the population.
We wish to reassure the population that presently there is no case of coronavirus in this hospital. We, however, invite the population to respect some basic hygienic rules like frequent washing of hands, wearing of masks. When you have cough, try to consult if it is accompanied by symptoms of fever.
Meantime, some rooms have been rehabilitated in the reanimation unit in case of any eventuality. There is this room for suspected cases of the coronavirus and this other for confirmed cases with necessary equipment needed for their treatment.
And since the outbreak of the coronavirus, there has been a marked surge in the sale of chloroquine, which is said to prevent the virus from spreading. Face masks and hand sanitizers too are in high demand in pharmacies. Gilbert Ongene was in some of the downtown Yaoundé to size up how these items are faring on the market.
Yaoundé residents are virtually flooding pharmacies these past days in a desperate search for chloroquine, which, according to some specialists, prevents the deadly coronavirus.
I buy chloroquine because I want to prevent the coronavirus.
According to some report on the website, the chloroquine must be or can be efficient against that virus.
A similar increase in demand is noticed as concerns hand sanitizers and face masks, whose sale is said to have increased dramatically.
Prevention is more than the cure. The demand of the hand sanitizer, the chloroquine, and some masks has increased.
Though the pharmacists are making brisk business, they are, however, cautious as to the veracity of chloroquine as a cure or prevention of the coronavirus.
It's not sure. There is controversy around that, around chloroquine. Someone say that it can cure it. Someone no, and then it's not official.
All said and done, though the population feels jittery about the presence of the coronavirus in neighboring Nigeria, they are, however, confident that measures put in place by the government would keep the disease at bay.
The coronavirus, otherwise known as the COVID-19, which was declared a public health emergency concern on January 30 this year, has infected about 90,000 persons across the globe. So far, every continent apart from the Antarctica has reported cases of the virus, with Asia being the worst hit. Yote Kaleli-Songe has the latest facts and figures about the ravaging virus.
58 countries across the globe have been hit by the coronavirus, with statistics from the World Health Organization indicating that more than 86,000 infections have been confirmed and over 3,000 lives lost so far. The first symptoms were diagnosed on the Asian continent in Hubei, a province in the Chinese city of Wuhan. So far, more than 80,000 cases of COVID-19 have been confirmed in mainland China and over 2,900 lives lost. In South Korea, over 4,000 persons have tested positive to the virus, including 36 deaths. Japan, for her part, has recorded a national tally of 236 to include 5 deaths. 593 cases have also been confirmed in Iran, with 66 lives already lost. In Iraq, 13 persons are battling with the coronavirus. So far, 98 cases have been reported in Singapore, 94 in Hong Kong, 56 in Kuwait, and 42 in Thailand. The United Arab Emirates was, however, the first country in the Middle East to confirm cases of the coronavirus, with a record of 19 and 1 in Qatar. The center of the outbreak in Europe is Italy, whose number of confirmed cases is above 1,500, with a death toll of 29. France comes next, as 130 persons have been infected by the coronavirus and 2 lives lost already. In Germany, 117 cases have been confirmed, while 32 are infected. In Spain, 19 in the United Kingdom and 10 in Switzerland. In North America, the United States has recorded 88 cases so far, including 2 deaths, while 24 persons in Canada are affected by the virus and 3 in Mexico. In South America, Brazil has reported 2 cases, while Australia has confirmed 29. On the African continent, precisely in the northern part, is Egypt, with 2 confirmed cases and 3 in Algeria. Nigeria remains the first and lone country in sub-Saharan Africa with a confirmed case of the coronavirus. New cases have also been reported in Indonesia, Republic, Scotland, and the Dominican Republic. According to the World Health Organization, 42,500 persons have survived the coronavirus in some of the affected.
On to some other news now. The military in Mande, alongside some civilian populations, have walked through parts of the town in a public demonstration of support for an end to the ghost town operations. They used a loudspeaker to talk to the people, out of their respective homes, and with calls to stay indoors on Monday, which they should disregard. And sometimes they dance to the music blaring out of the stereo, much to the amusement of the curious. Winston Lebga has details from CRTV Northwest.
They also danced in a move to put up a cheerful disposition in
Let's go over now to some other issue while we struggle to resolve the technical issue that brought the report from Bamenda to an abrupt halt. We hope to be coming back to it in the course of this newscast. Just time for us to say, over 3 weeks since the Ngabu incident near Ntumbo in the Dongamantun division of the Northwest region, many international and national non-governmental organizations have been giving reports laden with unverified facts about what exactly happened. Most of these NGOs have indulged in the manipulation of public opinion in total disrespect and disregard to the principle of neutrality and the protection of public interest. Joyce Kimbi-Fawaju, in the analysis that follows, wonders aloud if some of these NGOs don't operate with ulterior motives.
New specs have been coming from Gabu, with many non-governmental organizations giving
here,
reports of what happened,
John, send me
accusing
those
the army of being involved in the massacre, contrary to what the government believes is the reality of the situation. According to government sources, national non-governmental organizations have demonstrated bias by relying on one-sided and unverified information. The non-governmental organizations have acted with levity by not cross-checking their facts, but indulging in outright manipulation about the reality of what happened. This is not the first time that NGOs are portraying such bias in their reporting of incidents that have been recorded since the crisis in the Northwest and Southwest regions went violent. The reason being that most of these NGOs are funded by cabals and countries whose intentions are to discredit the government, create chaos in the country, and if possible, seek a change in regime. The government of Cameroon has acceded to various human rights instruments and has periodically submitted its report to various human rights bodies such as the United Nations Human Rights Committee and the African Union Committee in charge of human rights. It is common sense that non-governmental organizations registered in Cameroon ought to show a certain degree of neutrality, patriotism, and not play into the hands of the enemy of the state. Inasmuch as NGOs contribute in the protection, respect of various human rights in Cameroon, it is clear that it is the government's responsibility to protect, promote, and fulfill the various human rights of its citizens.
Chinese President Xi Jinping and his Cameroonian counterpart Paul Biya have instructed their officials to strengthen cooperation ties between the two countries. This was through a conversation between the two leaders who are all committed to the promotion of peace. The content of their discussion was revealed in Yaoundé today by the Chinese ambassador to Cameroon, Wang Yinggu. Charles Ebune reports.
2 years ago, President Paul Biya was in China twice, enough fact for the Yaoundé-Beijing hotline to be permanently busy. Our two heads of state have mutual conversations and they have discussed cooperation between our two countries. The presidential communications between the leaders of the Lion of Asia and the Lion of Central Africa are focused on mutually binding topics. They have given instructions on how to strengthen relations between our two friendly countries. According to the Chinese ambassador, the situation in secession-hit Northwest and Southwest regions has positively evolved. We think there has been much progress following the major national dialogue and the passage of laws, especially on decentralization. Yaoundé and Beijing remain hopeful that their lines of communication are to better the world through fact-based shared information.
It's now just a question of days and the Yaoundé City Council will have a new man at its helm. The new city mayor will be replacing the emblematic government delegate Gilbert Timievuna, who has reigned over the capital's 15 long years. Cynthia Saptala reports on the legacy of the veteran council administrator whose activities in the city earned him the rather infamous sobriquet of Jack Boer.
Known by Yaoundé city dwellers as Jack Boer, the government delegate to the city council, Gilbert Timievuna, would have imprinted in many the image of a man determined to improve on the landscape and town planning of the city.
Depuis près de 10 ans que je suis dans la ville de Yaoundé.
For over 10 years that I've been in Yaoundé, I witnessed so many changes. Lately, it is commercial motorbikes that have been forbidden from circulating in the heart of town. That I applaud.
Percuté par une moto.
Almost immediately after his appointment in 2005 at the helm of the 7 Fundi councils, the super mayor embarked on a couple of changes, which included the creation of parking lots, shops, markets, restaurants, the institution of a municipal police to control the use of public space, the creation of numerous public gardens, with the most outstanding being the Saint Anastasie Park found at the Wada roundabout.
I believe that when the government delegate to the Yaoundé City Council first arrived, he had good intentions for the town as well as good projects. The urban center underwent a physical transformation. Take for instance the Saint Anastasie Garden. At first, it was a dangerous area inhabited by delinquents, but now it's a nice space for recreational activities.
A project which inspired the Maddock Public Garden in Gaundere. In order to pursue his projects, Timi Evuna gained a reputation amongst the people by embarking on the fight against shanty and unplanned habitats to make way for development.
Ce qu'on pourra reprocher au délégué du gouvernement, c'est pas lui qu'il faut reprocher.
Whatever we want to accuse him of cannot truly be his fault. The government delegate is the head of the city, and his actions are based on an economic development model. I believe our criticisms should be directed to the entire society for the way we have managed the city.
From the making of waterfalls to the strict management of parking lots, the works of Gilbert Timievuna will be his legacy, even those yet to be completed.
And you're watching the 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television, the CRTV. We are beaming live from Yaoundé. Validated results of the February 9 twin elections in Cameroon show that the women did not make any significant progress in terms of representation, despite all the sensitization before and during the elections. Statistics indicate that only 33 emerged as mayors out of the 360, with the same stagnating figures at the level of the National Assembly. Kilian Ndifon spoke to some gender advocates on the reasons for the poor showing of the women folk in the political scene and pieced together the following report.
Political playing ground in Cameroon, gender equality advocates say, is patriarchal and can only disfavor women representation.
The political table should be leveled. In other contexts, positive discrimination has been used and women found themselves bridging the gender gap. I think Cameroon can do better. Only inscribing in the electoral code that gender should be taken into consideration and all other sociological components does not give women the leeway to positively discriminate against male dominance.
Public administration diversity tools are also a problem, they argue.
One tool like regional balance, when they put these tools in place, we don't have this issue, but now we have to address this issue in this case, because when you recruit people, you have to be sure that you have men and women.
This creates another female gender obstacle to the public office.
The discrimination in the nomination, this tool is used by the political leaders. In this way, you have less women in the high position in the public administration.
Only the law can solve the problem of women representation in political positions in the country.
We have been advocating to have a quota, a law that will fix a quota of 30% of women on the electoral list and mainly on the substantive candidature lists. This decree or the electoral text did not occur before the elections.
While women wait for 5 more years for elective positions in Cameroon, they now count on appointment sympathy to get better political representation.
And now on to those press release from the Secretariat General of the National Assembly, and it reads, the Secretary General of the National Assembly hereby informs the public in general and the substantive candidates in particular who were declared elected as members of the National Assembly following the February 9, 2020 legislative elections that in accordance with the provisions of the law and of the standing orders of the National Assembly as well as the Electoral Code, the statutory session of the National Assembly shall begin on Tuesday, the 10th of March 2020 at 11 a.m. at the plenary hall of the National Assembly, and it is signed by the Deputy Secretary General, number 1 of the National Assembly, Abdoulaye Dauda. 6 days to the 35th edition of the International Women's Day, queues of women increase in search of Women's Day fabric continue to grow even longer in front of the textile company in Yaoundé. At the level of the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, The coordination meetings to evaluate the state of preparedness are also, as well as the distribution of invitations for the 8th March pass, have taken entire central stage. Emanuela Vemue made a round of some administrations and says preparations for Women's Day have gathered momentum across the country.
Do not mistake them for market women. The quest to own a Women's Day fabric has brought them this far. Hours spent already before this textile company waiting. But for how long again to be served? None can answer. Yet the wait continues.
I don't have hope, but I am waiting. If possible, fine. If not, I go home. I doubt if there will be fabric because I was here on Friday and got nothing.
The stalls say it all. The fabric is scarce, yet the officials are reassuring.
We worked on Saturday till midnight, and yesterday, Sunday. Those are special measures to ensure that everyone who want to get his friends, we are ready to serve them.
Machines in tailoring workshops run in the absence of the Women's Day fabric. Here, not even a single piece has been received. No bother, however, to some ladies whose 8th March celebration goes beyond the fabric.
We are going to train them how to be good Christians and good mothers, to handle their family and in the same time being a Christian to save God.
In the Ministry of Women's Empowerment and the Family, it is time for coordination meetings and so much more.
In line with this celebration, we send experts to talk, especially on the theme of this year's celebration. So far, we are also trying to finalize March Pass preparations because as at now, we have about more than 25,000 women that have registered. We are also practically trying to finalize invitations for some officials.
One thing is clear, the celebration of Women's Day activity will be on March 8 in Cameroon.
The world is taking stock of efforts made in promoting gender and protecting women's rights. 2020 was the year set aside to target to reach that target in ending gender-based violence and promoting equal opportunities for men and women in decision-making circles. In decision-making positions and the promotion of the education and health of women, among other actions. This explains the choice of this year's theme of the Women's Day, which is promoting gender and protecting rights by 2020, taking stock of actions undertaken, setting a new course. Beatrice Losamba now walks us through the underpinnings of the 2020 theme.
So, the year when the world takes a break to evaluate all actions taken in promoting gender and protecting women is here. Just how far has Cameroon gone in reaching the target?
The preamble of the Constitution takes into consideration equality between men and women. And the right to work is being guaranteed through this Constitution. The right for everybody, be the woman, the man, to work is guaranteed.
Actions taken to reduce poverty, illiteracy, maternal mortality, gender-based violence, among other gender discriminations, are said to have been snail-paced, blamed on cultural barriers, old habits that die hard, and women's inability to dare.
The rate at which women are taking position in decision-making is advancing, but too slow. It should be about 16.5%, and the men about 95.5% about. And when I go even to politics, if I look at the National Assembly today, we have 31.6% of women represent.
Let's go back now to the story from the Northwest region that I was announcing at the beginning, to say the military in Mande, alongside civilians, have walked through parts of the town in a public demonstration of support to put an end to the ghost town operations. They used a loudspeaker to talk to the people out of respecting calls to stay indoors on Mondays, and sometimes they danced to the music blaring out of the stereo, which to the amusement of the curious onlookers on the streets. Winston Lebger has the details of that story from CRTV Northwest.
They also danced in a move to put up a cheerful disposition in Bamanda's inhabitants, most of whom rarely venture outside on Mondays. Many of these people are members of the armed forces and the police. Some civilians are part of the group. They've used a public address system to encourage Bamanda's inhabitants to go about their daily activities on Mondays.
Move forward every Monday and go on with normal activities, because for 4 years now, the Monday goes down. Never heard you.
The military has been on a campaign to make the population understand that their aim is to protect and not to hurt them. Here at the premises of the military hospital, this water supply point is open to the public.
We have many problems of water in our town, so we have this point of water to help our population.
The commander of the 5th Joint Military Region, Brigadier General Valle, began the anti-ghost town operation on Monday, January 27, 2020, and he has declared his determination to win the battle of hearts and minds.
And now I want to sports, and tonight on the 7:30 news, we begin our countdown to the 2020 African Nations Championship that Cameroon will be organizing from the 4th to the 25th of April this year. And during this particular countdown, we will be running you stories on how Cameroon is getting ready for that competition, as well as taking you to the regions that are concerned with the hosting of that competition. And tonight, we make our first stop tonight by presenting the competition that the country will be hosting and which will be in its 6th edition. Our man on that beat is Baldwin Sama.
First announced on September 11, 2007, the African Nations Championship is a football competition played between the best national teams of Africa, exclusively featuring players who are active in the national championships and qualify to play the ongoing season. Expatriate players, regardless of where they play, even in Africa, are not qualified to take part in the tournaments. From the first edition in 2009 in Côte d'Ivoire with 8 teams that took part, to the second edition in 2011, the number of participating countries increased to 16, as the African Nations Championship is a sharp response to the desire to revive national competitions weakened by a mass exodus of top players. Cameroon, hosting the competition for the first time, will be Africa's melting pot, as the country's image is sold internationally after it led to the development of different sports infrastructure in some cities of the country. The African Nations Championship will boost the country's economy with off-the-pitch activities organized, serving as a rallying point of a country's development. Through this competition, Cameroon will showcase her strong sense of legendary hospitality and portray her aspects as a country of friendship. For several weeks, therefore, temporary jobs will be created for job seekers, as the socio-economic and political life of the country will be shaped based on the outcome of the second biggest football competition on the African continent.
The 7:30 news on the Cameroon Radio Television. That's the way it was. Good night.
Nous sommes toutes lionnes indomptables. Après leur victoire sur la Côte d'Ivoire lors du tour précédent, les coéquipières de Njoya Adjara reviennent dans l'arène. Le jeudi 5 mars 2020, les Lions indomptables du Cameroun affrontent les Cooper's Queens de la Zambie pour un ticket qualificatif aux prochains Jeux Olympiques Tokyo 2020. Parce que c'est le mois de la femme, venons rugir avec nos Lions. Rendez-vous à partir de 14h30 au stade Omnisport Amadou Ahidjo de Yaoundé pour une rencontre exclusive.